All right. Multi-award winning Sam Smith have just released a new album, y'all. Now, of course, the album is called The Thrill of It All, and it is, of course, 14 tracks, 10 tracks on the standard. And for all of you who don't know who my man Sam Smith is, allow me to shed some light for you. Now, Sam Smith is a soul singer coming out of Britain, and the British always have the best soul singers. I have a theory. It's probably because America always take for granted the music of black people, while Britain, they get less of that, so they see it as more of a gift from God or so forth. So, of course, Sam Smith, the newest soul singer, came out. He came out with a fairly decent album, the last album, In My Loneliest Hour, which actually, I believe, won Song of the Year. One of them won Song of the Year. And of course, it was a pretty nice track, a standard 10 track soul ballad. Some of the best stuff that my generation have put out in a while. I loved it. Of course, Stay With Me. Kind of thought that Money on My Mind was a little bit of the sellout of the soul genre, but that's just me. But now he came out with a new album, and I have listened to it, and here's my opinion of it. All right, so we got the first two tracks that I wasn't really feeling. Too Good for Goodbye. Of course, he's talking about how he's way too good to be dumped, and Say It First. Two tracks that I feel is very vain when you actually look at them. Way Too Good for Goodbye is a talking about how he doesn't deserve for a person to leave him, as in a romantic sense. And Say It First is talking about how if you really love him, you would say it first and say that you love him first. So he wouldn't be caught up in saying that he loves you and you don't feel like the same thing. Pretty standard romantic drama. And I kind of wasn't feeling the first two. But then you have a song like One Last Love. Who starts out with these oldie, soulful vocals that really I was appreciating. Ooh, ooh. Like that was very pleasant to my ears. And then you have a song like Midnight Train, which kind of remind me of the whole idea of going to the train of Georgia and leaving your lover. Fantastic songs, calling to some old black slick style. It kind of reminded me of Megan Trainor Megan Trainor was never really good, but it kind of reminded me a mixture of Megan Trainor when she decided to do doo-wop, kind of like that. And then you have a song like Burning, which talks about how he has a cigarette addiction. And also, it kind of reminds me of the song Burn It Down, of course, reminds me of No Peace, where it also mentions about cigarettes, you know. And this could be a representative of how he has a smoking addiction and a smoking problem, which is really serious. And also the song Him, which kind of I think is clever because it also sounds like the word hymn, like how you do a little hymn and stuff like that. That is a clever one. As I was saying, the song Him, which is about his relationship with God and how God loves him. I think it's kind of clever because it also sounds like a hymn, like a church hymn. And also the song Prayer, which is the only song, ironically, with explicit lyrics. Like, you have a song called Prayer with explicit lyrics. swearing. That's pretty nice. And I'm also digging the kind of upbeat track, Baby, You Make Me Crazy. Kind of a cliche rhyme, but it's fun. I love it. And I also love the touching track, Scars, which talks about how his mother, or a character mother, have been lonely for a couple of years, and that his father was kind of a deadbeat. That was a very touching track. Now, I really appreciate the only feature on here, which is Yeba. I think that's how her name is pronounced. I looked it up online, but yeah, she was pretty nice in this whole album too. Now that 53rd, that 53-second moment on the track, Nothing's Left for Me really scared me, because then he had the choir in the back, like, just, I didn't expect that, like, boom. But yeah, I love that moment. It really stuck in my mind. I wanted to point that out. Now the track on here, One Day at a Time. I kind of wished it was switched out with the track One Last Song. But overall, it's a pretty good track. This is a pretty nice album. I like the gospel mixing. I like the all acoustic pianos. I like the guitars. I like the overall theme of love throughout this album and losing love. I kind of think that the first two songs are pretty generic and just pretty much basic Sam Smith. But overall, the album, I like the talks about God. I love everything about this album. I'm going to give it a 8. I'm really digging it. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video. You know what to do. Really digging it. All right. Goodbye, guys.